All right, people. So our last review of the day is going to be for Casino Royale. Casino Royale. There is the Daniel Craig Bond movie there, the first Daniel Craig Bond movie there. This is directed by Martin Campbell there, who's no stranger to the Bond series. He did one Bond movie before there. He's known for doing what people say was before the Casino Royale was one of the best Bond movies. He did GoldenEye in 1995. That was with Pierce Brosnan there. Daniel Craig took over for Pierce Brosnan as Bond there after Pierce Brosnan's final film, Die Another Day. Die Another Day, which was box office very successful, the box office. So Die Another Day there. But it did have a kind of a big budget. On a budget of 142 million, it made 432 million. So it still did pretty good there. But for a lot of people, that was a weaker Bond movie, and kind of people like, this is a little kind of overbloated, the gadgets, all this kind of stuff there, and it was kind of a little much there, and it wasn't very critically reviewed very well there. And that's what kind of 4 years later, that's what sparked kind of Casino Royale, which was kind of a new age of spy films at this time. You had the Bourne movies out at this time there. I think Mission Impossible. What number was Mission Impossible? I think they were still on number 2 before they did 3. Because 3 was in 07, I think.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
I think 3 was in 07.
I also think it can't be understated how profound an impact that the Austin Powers movies had on Bond as a franchise. I feel like once Austin Powers pointed out all the silliness of certain things, they had to go with sort of a different feel or style.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I watched the Austin Powers movies before I saw like the classic James Bond movies like Sean Connery and all those things like that. And I always thought it was like an over exaggeration, like him doing like the judo chop and people just falling out, and then watching the older Bond movies, like, oh shit, they really did do that. Yeah, so it's like, so you have
especially if you watch some of the Roger Moore ones, which just get ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think didn't Roger Moore do the most Bond movies? I think maybe because he did a lot of them.
I think so. That's part of why they got so silly as they went. I feel like they were running out of ideas and they just kept going.
Yeah, he got pretty old. I think in his 60s he ended up still doing Bond.
Yeah, something like that.
But in this Casino Royale, it's basically like kind of what the 007 First Light game is, which is why we're doing a review of this, because just can't get enough of that Bond there. It's basically kind of similar thing where it's like Bond year one. This is Bond when he's like earning his license to kill there, where he's kind of his first mission as a 007 there. You have that kind of going on. And then he must take on this corrupt banker there that's funding all these terrorists there, who's played by Mads Mikkelsen in this there. You have that kind of going on. So you see, yes, Lashif there. You have that. Of course, with all Bond villains, they also have to have some type of disability or deformity of some kind with that. So that's kind of like a running Bond thing. Here, he has like an eye that's grayed out, like he's blind in one eye. He's got like a scar over it. Very kind of almost, I guess, Blofeld-like. Yeah. I guess. You kind of got that aspect to it. And then it's funny. I was looking at a review for Quantum of Solace, and then somebody said, it's like, well, what about the villain in Quantum of Solace? Like, what's his deformity? Like, what's his thing that makes him? Oh, we say
the script is his deformity.
Oh yeah, the script. Yeah, he was one of the worst forgettable Bond villains.
Lashif is, if I believe, I'm double checking to make sure I'm right, but he was the main villain in Casino Royale is one of the actual books. Yeah, and Lashif is actually a villain from the books, which many of the, Sean Connery era films and, many of the other Bonds in general, they'd make up, villains for their movies most of the time. They weren't usually pulling from the book. But this movie pulls a lot from the book.
Yeah. You had that, and then I think with the Bond villain, the second one, it was like, well, he's got those big ass bug eyes. That's what makes him, like deformed like the other ones. Even that's something that the actor just naturally has. That's just his face.
You're talking about Rami Malek?
No, not Rami Malek. It was the one from Quantum of Solace. That guy.
Oh, okay. I guess they did that twice then, huh?
Yeah, I guess they had he was in No Time to Die. Rami Malek, his thing was like he was burned, right? He was like his face, and he wore the mask.
So he had 2 deformities.
He had 2 deformities. Yeah, he had that kind of going on.
He had a burn, and then he also had Rami Malek's eyes.
Yeah, but with this Casino Royale movie, it was trying to take Bond back to more kind of realistic roots there, more kind of gritty. You had that kind of aspect. No real gadgets in this, no real fancy anything like that. There's no Q in this movie. Q wouldn't come later until Skyfall there,
Yeah.
which was the third Bond movie. And Daniel
Even
Craig.
when they do him, Ben Whishaw is like a very young Q, which is like such a total inversion of what you normally expect from that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Ben Whishaw, yeah. And Dan Craig ended up doing 5 Bond movies. So he did 5. And with the Bond movies, it was like a trend of every odd one was good, but then every even one was bad. So like Casino Royale was good, but then Quantum of Solace was not so good. But then Skyfall was good, but then Spectre wasn't so good. But then it closed out with No Time to Die, which I think is pretty good there.
Now, I
Um,
actually still have yet to see either Spectre or No Time to Die.
really, you haven't seen it? Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I just never went back. I guess Spectre with the trailers, I just wasn't super impressed, and then I heard people saying it wasn't that great. And then I guess No Time to Die, I heard sort of mixed opinion on, so I just haven't gone out of my way to watch him yet.
Yeah, I think it closes out pretty well. I think it closes out the series pretty well there. No Time to Die. But yeah, that's when as it went on, it started to include more classic Bond things. You know what I mean? Where you had the gadgets, and then you had more of the traditional kind of Bond girls there in it. So more of the stuff we know from the series there, and then it even switched to reverting back to a male M, where you
Yep.
had Ralph Fiennes there. Where in Casino Royale, it was kind of one of the few things that carried over from the Pierce Brosnan movies, which you had Judi Dench, who was M in that, and then she carried over into it. And then they asked about it as like, well, wouldn't it confuse some people, the fact that Judi Dench is M or anything like that? And it's like, I think she kind of was important to maintain that. And, obviously, Judi Dench being as great of actor as she is.
And she gets a lot to do, and I think at least this one and Skyfall for sure.
Yeah, Skyfall, she has a very important role in that. And Judi Dench, I mean, yeah, she cold, man. She like you see that movie. She's like, I'm trying to get this mission done. Like, you know what I mean? You're just an instrument, a tool to get that done. Like, it's cool if you make it, but hey, it's also cool if you don't make it. So you have that
To
aspect.
be honest, a lot of the older movies, like the versions of M, are kind of basic. Like they're kind of just the clinical sort of basic boss character, but they're not like they don't have like I feel like Judi Dench's version by far has the most interesting actual dynamic with Bond.
Mm. Yeah, interesting. And then, like I said, Daniel Craig was James Bond in this. There, kind of a lot of people didn't like the casting at first with Daniel Craig.
Well, the
Um,
internet threw an absolute shit fit when he had blonde hair.
yeah,
Like
I,
just
the
that was enough to make people go like, "What? You can't? That's not allowed."
Yeah, the first time in history where being blonde and blue eyed didn't work out in your favor, probably. So you had that where it's like, yeah, this is not how Bond is supposed to look. Bond is not supposed to have blue eyes and blonde hair with that. So that caused a big stir there of the way kind of he looked there with that. And then Daniel Craig at this point wasn't too well known there. He was in movies like he was in Tomb Raider. He was in that before?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I forgot about that entirely. Yeah,
yeah,
this was definitely the first time I remember hearing or knowing who he was when I was a kid.
The reason why he got cast in this is because one of the members of the Broccoli family saw him in that movie, the Matthew Vaughn movie, Layer Cake.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
that's primarily why the reason why he got cast in this. There, did you ever see that movie, Layer Cake?
Yes, but very long time ago, so I don't remember it that well.
Yeah, so he ended up doing that. I do remember this movie. I can't remember if I saw it after Bond or before Bond. I can't remember. But yeah, he was in this there. This was pretty good. This movie, if people wanted to check it out. But yeah, this was the movie that convinced them, like, oh yeah, this guy would make a pretty good Bond here. And Matthew Vaughn, he would also go and do his own type of James Bond series with Kingsman. He would end up doing that with that there. A person who was considered for the role before Daniel Craig, it was heavily considered, was Henry Cavill, was heavily considered there. And I guess Henry Cavill matches more of what Bond is supposed to look like, maybe from the books, because Bond is
Yeah,
supposed to
with
have
like the
more.
black hair and the yeah.
Yeah. So you had that. What do you think this movie would have been if it had Henry Cavill? You think?
I mean, I do like Henry Cavill. I just don't like Zack Snyder. So let me be clear on that. I think Henry Cavill's a good actor. I don't know if I see him as Bond as much. I almost feel like he's too muscular to be Bond. Like he's too big. Yeah, like I feel like if James Bond is like as muscular as like the big tough henchman, I don't know. That seems like it would just set up a weird dynamic where he'd feel overpowered.
Mm,
Then
yeah.
again, I'm sure he wasn't quite as muscular as you see him now at the time, so maybe that wouldn't have been
Yeah,
a concern.
when he bulked up for Superman and everything like that, and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, so Henry Cavill was there. So you had that, and then Dan Craig initially turned it down because he was like, "Well, where Bond is now, he just felt like there's really nothing new going on. It's the same thing," and he had to kind of be convinced to kind of take on the role there of that. But yeah. So, Sage, what are your thoughts, man? Casino Royale.
Well, this is my all-time favorite Bond. Daniel Craig. He's in general my favorite Bond. This is my favorite Bond film, and Le Chiffre is my favorite Bond villain. I don't have really hardly any negatives to say, so I'll just gush about the movie. I mean, I love this. I think it was such a breath of fresh air. It's exactly what the series needed. Right away, that first like black and white action scene is just like so brutal and visceral and just well shot. And again, I think her dynamic with him, which you get to see very quickly after that, I think that's just some of the best. I think it's the best M has ever been in any of these films. There's just such a great sort of feel and style to this movie that, like, yeah, if you were like, I was watching a lot of James Bond movies as a kid, and maybe was a little bored of some of the repetition, and I also watching Austin Powers, I was like, oh yeah, these are silly, and they are doing this over and over again. This just everything about this. I feel like it was the first one that tried to be a little closer to the book as well. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, how about you? I feel like I have just nothing but praise points for this.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, this wasn't my first Bond movie. So my first Bond movie was Die Another Day, the last Pierce Brosnan movie. So I guess technically, I mean, my first Bond was, Pierce Brosnan there,
My
and
first was Goldeneye. So
yeah, Goldeneye. So that was a good one there to be your first one there. And I think I only saw Die Another Day because it was like, okay, Halle Berry was in it and she fine as hell. I saw it because of that, I think. And yeah, so you had that one. And that was kind of my favorite. I was like, okay, there's a lot of gadgets, a lot of stuff kind of going on here, whatever. But I did go back and watch Goldeneye, which is really good. I think that's obviously a really good. It would kind of seem like it would repeat a formula because everybody wanted to kind of do the whole kind of rogue former double O who kind of comes back against the agency or whatever because they do that here.
and
Uh,
they do that really good twist on that in the first Light game too. Just as an aside.
yeah, they do it kind of in the first Light game. I was like, oh, don't tell me you're gonna do that again. But then they, like you said, they do kind of a twist on it. They do it again in Skyfall. They do it that kind of aspect
I
there.
liked how they did it there quite a bit actually.
Yeah, so you kind of had that aspect of it. But yeah, it just started to get kind of ridiculous. And I haven't seen all the Bond movies. There's like 37 of them, I believe.
Something like
Um,
that. It's a lot.
it's a lot of them. I've seen only one Connery one that was Goldfinger. That's the only one I've seen. I have never seen any of the Roger Moore ones. I've never seen any of the Timothy Dalton ones, and I've never seen the George Lazenby one.
I think Timothy Dalton's actually a little underrated, personally.
Yeah, I heard for like more of the physical description of Bond, Timothy Dalton matches what the book is supposed to be.
Yeah,
More than
he's
the
pretty close. And I mean, to be honest, I think people sort of thought of Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan as almost the same person at the time.
other. Because they kind of had like a similar face there a little bit, or
A little bit, and then also like, if I remember right, they wanted Pierce Brosnan, and he like couldn't do it yet, so they got Timothy Dalton as like well, you look enough like Pierce Brosnan that while we're waiting for him, we'll have you do a couple.
yeah. So he did License to Kill and Living Daylight. So he only did two.
Yeah.
There. So that's basically why he only did two. Is just basically just wanted to be like, well, we're just waiting for Pierce Brosnan to come in.
Yeah, they literally cast him because he's like, you look enough like Pierce Brosnan. We could use you while we're waiting for him.
Damn, that's kind of cold. Well, I mean, hey, at least Timothy Dalton goes like, hey, I was Bond at least, at least twice, so you can always boast that small club.
Yeah, I kind of like his Bond better than Pierce Brosnan, personally.
Yeah. I've never really heard too much about his movies. I don't know how good they are.
I think License to Kill, at least, is pretty good.
Okay. But yeah, this was my kind of my follow up there with Die Another Day, was seeing Casino Royale there. More, like I said, modern Bond there, more brutal Bond that you saw. Like you mentioned, the opening sequence of the movie, which is in all black and white, which was kind of a cool kind of thing there, the opening of it. And he kind of just introduces you right away to what this Bond is going to be all about with this. And I'll play a little bit of it here.
Shame. We barely got to know each other. I know where you keep your gun. Suppose that's something. True. How did you die? Your contact? Not well.
Jesus Christ. I mean, he's drowning this dude in a bathroom sink and everything like that. I mean, definitely sets the tone.
Second worst place for the drowning down.
Yeah, I guess I'd rather the sink than the toilet, I guess.
It's a kindness.
Yeah. Damn, that look on his face, too. Fuck, too. Yeah.
I think that's something that always does need to be there for the character, no matter what version is. Like, there's a little... He's like a little psycho. Like, he's like likes it a little too much, and he like lets that out sometimes.
Yeah, kind of enjoys it a little too much, man, with that. You see at the opening scene there, the guy kind of is chastising him because he's like, well, if this was really important, then M would send a 00 after me. It's just you, whatever. So you kind of have that aspect of it. Have you read some of the Ian Fleming books?
I really haven't. I only just have read about some of the things that then got brought over in a movie like this or in the game First Light. Yeah, I've never given him a read myself. I kind of want to. I think about it a lot. I'm a slow reader. It takes me a while to get through a book.
Okay, maybe we can get that with the dinosaurs. Maybe Bond dinosaur there.
It's funny you should say that because there is a bit of a James Bond riff we have, but it's not a dinosaur, and I don't want to give it away, but there will be a little James Bond riffing at some point.
Okay, very cool there. Well, people stay tuned for that. Yeah. And then, of course, like with any Bond movie, you need a Bond girl there. That's always a staple of these movies there. In this, you have Eva Green, who's the Bond girl, who plays Vesper Lynn in it there. People might know Eva Green there. She was in Penny Dreadful.
Yeah.
She was in that. I know you're a big fan of that show. She's also been in, she was in Sin City. She was in the sequel there. A Dame
She was in the sequel to Sin City, and she was in the sequel to 300.
Did I ever see the sequel to 300? Maybe.
She was like the big villain in it.
Okay.
It wasn't good, but
okay. But she was fine in it. But she was very fine in the movie.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can never take that away from her.
There, yeah. And she was with Tim Burton for a minute. And of course, like Tim Burton, anytime he has a woman, a girlfriend, anything, like he's always gonna put her in his movies, like just like Helena Bonham Carter, like, so that means she was in like Dumbo, Eva Green, she was in that one. So yeah, he's gonna
probably put a woman.
Yeah, Dumbo at all the ones, yeah. So she was also in that. But yeah, Eva Green, Vesper Lynn there. So she's basically the finance person. So when he goes on the mission to get Lashif there, who's the Mads Mikkelsen character, she's basically back in Bond. She's the one controlling the money because he's going to enter this high stakes poker tournament there and go against him. And then also he owes a lot of money to a bunch of gangsters there. I'm blanking on what the nationality of the gangsters are. I think are they supposed to be South African or?
Oh, I can't remember now, but I think so. I think you're right.
I forgot which African country they're from, I think maybe, but yeah. So yeah, he's going to enter the tournament there. And then also you have Felix Leiter there, who's a classic James Bond character. He's the American in it. He's the CIA agent there. Typically it's played by a white person. I think they're all the Bond movies, but here they change it, where they make it Jeffrey Wright there. So he's doing a Commissioner Gordon thing there with Felix Leiter there with that.
I actually don't remember people complaining about that.
Maybe people just didn't know. They go like, "Oh, I don't even know." People don't even remember.
I mean, that's also possible. But it's funny how Daniel Craig got the reaction, but then that was sort of just like, "Oh yeah, no, well, whatever."
Yeah, but yeah, he comes in at the poker tournament. He's the one also trying to get him as well. So they kind of work out a deal. It's like, well, because he sucks at Texas Hold'em. He sucks at it, so he's like losing all this money, and he's like, "Well, how to this? I'll front you. I'll give you some money." I think you can beat them, and then if you beat them, then let the CIA bring them in, and we'll capture. We'll take the credit for bringing them in and everything like that. But here's the scene where Bond first meets Vesper Lynn, and they do kind of a thing where they do like a quippy back and forth. You know what I mean? Whose childhood was more fucked up and things like that, and who's more of a messed up individual. So let's play a little bit of this right here.
10 million is wired to your account in Montenegro, with a contingency for 5 more if I deem it a prudent investment. I suppose you've given some thought to the notion that if you lose, our government will have directly financed terrorism. What looks good? So you're telling me it's a matter of probability and odds? I was worried there was some chance involved.
Only of you assume we play with the best hand wins.
So that will be what you call bluffing.
You've heard the term. Then you'll also know that in poker you never play your hand. You play the man across from you.
And you're good at reading people.
Yes, I am. Which is why I've been able to detect an undercurrent of sarcasm in your voice.
You'll know short our money is in good hands.
You don't think this is a very good plan, do you?
So there is a plan. I got the impression we were risking millions of dollars and hundreds of lives on a game of luck. What else can you surmise, Mr. Bond?
About you, Miss Lynn? Well, your beauty's a problem. You worry you won't be taken seriously.
Which one can say of any attractive woman with half a brain?
True, but this one overcompensates by wearing slightly masculine clothing, being more aggressive than her female colleagues, which gives her a somewhat prickly demeanor. And ironically enough, makes it less likely for her to be accepted and promoted by her male superiors, who mistake her insecurities for arrogance. Now, I'd have normally gone with only child, but, you see, by the way you ignored the quip about your parents, I'm gonna have to go with orphan.
Yeah, so how do you like Eva Green there as a Bond girl compared to maybe some of the other ones?
I mean, I know I keep saying this, but she's kind of my favorite one. I think we see her just challenge him intellectually, like more than often I feel like is the case. Like just really, like she's able to bite back at him on a pretty personal level too. And then of course when she's there for that first like fight scene, which I guess even before Daredevil was doing it, they had the James Bond hallway fights. But the way he like that actually kind of like scares her. There's just Ava Green is doing something acting wise there that where her whole facade just sort of breaks in one moment that I think is really powerful.
Yeah, it's again showing kind of the action of it, where Bond is taking on these guys there who've infiltrated the tournament there because they're demanding their money from Mads Mikkelsen's character, and you see him kill one of these guys and just like by choking him out, and you see she helps him do it by because he's got a gun, and so she knocks the gun out of his hand. And so she has a very visceral reaction to that, as you mentioned there. And then the scene following that, you see where she's in the shower there, where she's kind of crying, and then Bond comforts her. So you see it's a more human side of Bond. When
it's some real compassion, which there's a lot of times when you get like little or none from this character.
Yeah, and this is the part of it right here when they finally done tumbling like all the way down the stairs, like flights of stairs. Like this is the part right here where you see the death right there.
Go find Matthews. Tell him I'm putting the bodies down here, and I want him to get rid of them. Do that now. Go.
Yeah. And then in that scene there, the follow-up scene, I'll play that scene really as well. We see she's in the shower. So initially she was supposed to be naked initially. But then Daniel Craig argued that it's like, well, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would she get naked there?
She's not in the state of mind to even start trying to do that.
So then it was like, no, it's like it makes more sense for her to just still be in the clothes there, like you said, the state of mind. So then that's what he's seeing there. So we see that scene right here, there, and we see him. Yeah, and he just changed too. He got changed again. He's like, man, just changed into a new shirt too, man. Yeah.
It's like this blood on my hands. It's not coming off.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, very emotional moment there. And you see, like he kind of, I don't know why he sucks her fingers there with the blood off, but I was like, it's kind of weird, but
Yeah, a little bit.
but very sensual there, I guess you could say.
He's playing the long game a little bit still with that.
But yeah, very impressive performance by Eva Green. Like you mentioned, intellectually, like really challenges Bond a lot there. In their sparring, like we saw on the train there, that's very good. And yeah, and then thinking about some of the other Bond girls in history there, like I said, my exposure is kind of limited, to a lot of the Bond girls there of it. I did see also Tomorrow Never Dies with Michelle Yeoh, which she offers kind of a more physical, I guess, because she's also like a spy for her country, and they kind of both collaborate to do the mission together. I don't know if you've ever seen that one before.
Yeah, it's another one that it's been a long time, so my memory is a bit fuzzy, but I have seen it.
Yeah, so that also is a pretty good performance from Michelle Yeoh with that one there. That's when they fight Elon Musk kind of in that one, kind of another rich kind of billionaire guy. So yeah, that kind of works really well. Do you think there's not enough action? Do you think there's too many gaps between the action there, or you think it's pretty well paced?
I think it's very well paced. I like that it's these pops of violence that are kind of built up too slowly, and I think it's really good at being really moody and then delivering on it right when it needs to.
Very nice, and it's like I said, very good as well there. Comparing it to the Bourne movies, the action of those kind of movies, like in terms of the visceral nature of it. Also, a lot of the issue with the Bourne movies was they would do a lot of cutting. It was a lot of just slapping, and you know what I mean. You couldn't really make out what was happening, what was kind of going on.
You'd always be you see this movie's action like very, very clearly.
Yeah, like it was that Paul Greengrass. It looked like he was kind of had like a camcorder recording it and everything like this. Like it was all kind of shaky. Here, you're actually able to see everything. Everything looks really good, and it was Daniel Craig who was doing most of his stunts and everything like that for it. So that also kind of helped with a lot of things there. But also he did that kind of paid on him because his body and everything like that, doing a lot of stunts for these movies. Kind of almost reminded me of like when Brendan Fraser, when he did a lot of the stunts for The Mummy, and that kind of ended up backfiring on him, and he had like a lot of issues physically from doing that, and a lot of pain with that. But I thought that really works there. Yeah, I mean, just it's such a solid movie all the way through there. When you think about it, like, yeah, you can see why this was kind of considered one of the best Bond movies. Do you think it's definitely the best Craig movie there for sure? I mean,
it's my favorite period amongst any of them. So I would say yes to that as well. And also just Mads Mikkelsen is so good as this villain. Like he's like menacing and like has this intimidation factor, and yet feels like he's in his own like vulnerable at-risk position, which I feel like that's a hard thing to do, to have someone like a villain come across as in peril and yet still intimidating at the same time.
And you really see that here during the torture scene. So this is after he loses the card game there, because at first Bond loses a lot of money, he loses big. And then he comes back there from it because he thinks that Lashif has like a certain tell that he does. So he's just like, oh no, I got him nailed to the wall. It's easy. Let's do this. I can bet. But then no, he kind of fakes him out there, and then he starts coming back, starts winning, and then Lashif poisons him, and then he ends up trying to kill him. And then even when he kills him there, he makes a good, obviously, with the Bond quip when he comes back there, which works really well. But this is the torture scene from this movie where you get to really see how menacing he is there.
And for the poker scenes themselves too, I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but I believe I understand that Daniel Craig did not know poker well.
I played a lot of poker since I was a kid, so the game was not new to me. The hands we are playing are insane, So if you're a poker player, you'll go, what? We just wanted to make the nature of the betting believable, but the hands obviously had to be easily recognizable for an audience that doesn't play poker. So they were quite crazy hands. But yeah, everybody knew how to play poker actually around that table, except for one, Daniel. He had no clue. He sucked. And it was the worst thing ever that he, of all people, had to beat me and win all my money. It was like, this is wrong. Well, I got him back with the rope, so that's good.
Yeah, I think Mads Mikkelsen said that in an interview. I think
He was like almost getting on people's nerves at the table because he had like no idea how to play it at all.
I think Mads Mikkelsen said that in an interview one time that he didn't know, absolutely had no idea how to play, and it was kind of frustrating there. Yeah, so this was the torture scene right here. Is every Bond villain very homoerotic? Like, do they always like kind of?
There is a lot of that.
Okay. Every Bond villain's a Skeletor here. Like, okay.
Well, was it last year they had that bit where they put Lashif into the Hitman games, and you could do basically this little storyline. You could get that rope and kill him with it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Knowledge that if you do not heal soon enough, there will be little left to identify you as a man. The only question remains: will you heal in time?
I wonder if this is where Hideo Kojima. This is where you fell in love with Mads Mikkelsen right here. This is where
It might be. It's the first time I remember ever seeing him in anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this was the first time I ever seen him there before, some other stuff he's kind of been in. Yeah.
It's funny to think that like in his home country he's more of like a leading man, like romantic sort of lead role sort of actor.
Really? Okay. And what
Especially
countries-
like pre being in American films. I think he was the romantic lead quite a bit.
I mean, he's a handsome guy. I mean, he's a very handsome guy, yeah, for sure.
In America, he's also extremely devious and European.
Yeah, like Hannibal, for instance. Yeah.
That did not help that perception of his performances.
And he's one of the. I mean, he rivals Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal.
I think he's better, and I love Anthony Hopkins. Like I really love his performance, but like with all 3 seasons of that show, I think he genuinely outdoes him.
Yeah, he's really amazing. So he's from Denmark. There. So he's from there. So yeah, really amazing. I mean, great Bond villain there with that. I mean, I think in the series, for me, I think the best one is probably Javier Bardem. I think he's really great. As that, I forgot his character's name in that one.
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, he's really good. Raul Sylvia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's really good. He's kind of got, again, guy with the deformity. He's got like his face it was like a chemical, and then it like burned his face there, I think, or something like that.
He like pulls like the fake prosthetic like out of his mouth, and it all drops.
Yeah, so he's got that. Another guy who also undressed Bond and touched his chest, and it's like, oh, Bond, you're so sexy. And
he was just like rubbing his knees right there in the scene.
Like, we're like, what's about to happen right now? Like, hold on. But yeah, I mean, so that's even works really well with that, I think. And so you kind of learn eventually that it was kind of like a situation where, Bond, after he gets kind of kidnapped there, the people that want their money back end up killing Lashif there. And Bond gets rescued there. And you see that it's kind of towards the epilogue of the movie, and that there's a whole thing of Vesper Lynn there. So it turns out Vesper Lynn was kind of the one betraying him. And then she had like a boyfriend there, a love interest, who kind of ran this kind of scam there with a lot of women. He makes an appearance also in Quantum of Solace, because Quantum of Solace is kind of one of the first times I think they've ever done a Bond movie where it was like a direct sequel to Bond.
Even then, it's like the first 5 minutes are, and then it just kind of moves into its own thing almost right away.
Yeah, because Bond kind of he's out for revenge for Vesper Lynn there, of the people that killed her. He ends up meeting the boyfriend. I think, if I remember correctly, in Quantum, I think it was at the very end he does that.
Oh, was it at the end? Okay.
I can't remember if it was at the end or the beginning there, but he ends up kind of doing that. I don't know why he maybe just doesn't kill the boyfriend or whatever. I mean, he's got like a new person he's trying to run a scam on or whatever. And then he kind of just warns that woman, and then yeah, he just kind of dips after that. But yeah, but but Quantum of Solace was kind of largely kind of forgettable as one of the sequel to the first Casino Royale. There,
I honestly hate that movie.
wow, hate it. And you think it's one of the worst Bond movies ever? Right?
I think it's the worst Bond movie.
Wow, the worst one. Jeez. And they've done some bad ones, man. Moonraker.
Yeah, there's some other ones. I mean, on Her Majesty's Secret Service is also not good. There's a couple Roger Moore ones that aren't great. I certainly not the only bad one, but I do think it is the worst.
Yeah. But the death sequence with Vesperlin is really well done. Here you see this there, where he can't save her there, which works really well. Damn. I think if she tried to hold her breath, I think maybe she was too busy screaming. I think maybe she probably would have been. I mean, he almost got it open.
That's not that much time there. He got in there.
Yeah, maybe she tried to hold her breath a little bit instead of kind of screaming. She panicked.
Fast.
Yeah, she panicked too much. Yeah, but you see that? Yeah, she ended up kind of dying.
The whole set piece that leads to that scene is really impressive too. Like the whole building going into the water in Venice.
Oh yeah, that's really good. So this is good. Yeah, a lot of great action set pieces. Even at the beginning of the movie, the whole kind of foot chase they do, that's really great. With
excellent.
He's chasing the guy throughout the whole city. I forgot what city it's supposed to be there exactly, but Bond's known from globetrotting and doing all these different things there. Uganda, that's what it was. Uganda.
Oh, okay.
He's doing that, and he has this fight on this scalpel there. That works really well. That's like so really good there. I think that obviously works, and they make a reference to, like, the game makes references to all the Bond movies, outfits, the missions, everything like that. And then they make a reference. One of the references they do to Casino Royale is when he's telling somebody not to touch his ear because he's touching his earpiece, everything like that. Bond told somebody, an agent there. So I thought that worked really well. But yeah, that's such a great sequence with that. And this is kind of like, with this version of Bond, how do you think he compares to other versions of other past actors who played this? Because it seems like with this Bond, he's more maybe kind of, like shoot questions, like shoot first, ask questions later type of thing about that. And just kind of more like, okay, I got this license to kill. I'm going to really just kind of go full force in it. What's kind of your opinion there?
Well, like I said, I really feel like, as far as all the film versions go, I really do think this one feels the closest to what I do know of the book, where he's still got charm to him, but he sort of drops it and sort of shows his edge a lot more, and really, like, the cold brutality is just captured so well. Not that other Bonds have not had those moments and had those moments done very well, but I just feel like it happens so much more consistently, and like you said, he's more brazen about certain things. I like I said, he's my favorite iteration of the character. I really think they kind of almost perfected Bond in this movie to me.
Yeah, and this is the scene right here where they're fighting on it, which works really well. I always like this moment where he throws the gun here. He runs out of bullets, throws it, and just chucks
Which is also a mechanic in First Light.
Oh yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, when you just run out of bullets, so you can just throw the gun at somebody. Because Pierce Brosnan one, I feel like he was too much charm, not enough real edge to him. That really, I didn't really feel that from him.
He's a little too cool all the time.
Yeah, a little too all about the quips, all about like trying to look cool there. Not really, doesn't really feel any hard edge there with him. And then with Connery, I think he also strikes that good balance there of it.
Sometimes Sean Connery could be like so hard edge, at times, and the charm would like fall away to him just like smacking a woman in a hotel room.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously the 60s. I mean, that's yeah.
It's also just Sean Connery.
Yeah, Sean. He would do that in real life too. So yeah, he's like, well, Sean, I wrote in the script for you to say goodbye, not to slap her, but that's okay. We can work with that,
Shame
man.
or no more. I'll do it again.
But yeah, so you see that, and then the guy who really gets fucked over the worst in this movie, and then even gets fucked over worse in the sequel, is the dude Mathis. So he initially is the one that gets blamed for being the guy that's the traitor, and then he gets taken away to get tortured in some black hole site, and then afterwards there it's kind of like, you know, even when it gets revealed that Vesper Lynn was the one, and then Judi Dench M calls him and goes like, well, you know, okay, well, we got him. It's like, should we release him now that we know that Vesper Lynn? He's like, no, keep the screws on him, keep going. And it's like, what the fuck?
He's got to be lying about something.
You know, he's got to be behind it somehow. You know, keep doing it. Only in the sequel to follow up Quantum of Solace, where it was kind of like, no, he didn't have anything to do with it. He's good. And then he goes to him for help, the guy that he sent to be tortured. And then he ends up dying in that movie. He gets shot, and then he picks up his body and throws it in a dumpster. You know, he just leaves him there. It's like, bro, you the one that told him to come out here and do this. It's like he just gets fucked over hard in both those movies, man.
That's Bond being, truly being like dead inside and cold, like truly cold after what happens to Vesper.
Yeah. So you think this does kind of what First Light does, where you're kind of seeing like this is where Bond becomes kind of the cold, calculating.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think by the end of this movie, like he is the cold-hearted, calculating kind of bastard that James Bond should be. I think in First Light, even by the end of that game, I feel like he's not quite there yet. Like I feel like he's still got a bit of optimism to him by the end of that game. So I'm thinking maybe by the end of, they'll still sort of have a little bit of that in the sequel, and you'll see it eroded more slowly over the course of 3 games maybe. But here, yeah, I think just in one movie, he's there at the end.
You see the end where he does the classic line there. Everybody knows. Let me play it here.
Who is this?
Damn, it screams so loud that shit echoed. He's like, that shit echoed, man.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
And I think that's the first time they play that beat kind of in the movie, I think, right?
I think so. I think it just runs through the credits at the end.
Yeah. Because I don't think, did they do it at the first when he does the classic, like the shot that they hear where they do that? I can't, let me see. Let me
remember. I want to say they only played that old theme once in this movie.
Yeah, because I think because obviously the classic iconic barrel shot they do there with that. I don't think they play the music there with that one. Let me just double check just to make sure they're watching this when they kind of do it. I think it's only there, but this is it right here. Let me see. Oh, that's when it leads into the Casino Royale where they do that. So that's where it leads into that one. What do you think about the Bond song for this one?
I think it's good. It's not maybe my favorite ever, but I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. Let me see who actually ended up doing this Casino Royale song there. I think it's Chris Campbell, I think, ended up doing the Bond song for this one. Do you remember much about Chris Cornell did it?
Chris Cornell.
You Know My Name was the Bond song for this one. I think Chris Cornell, that name sounds familiar. Oh, Soundgarden. Oh, that's okay. That's where he's from.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Do you listen much to Soundgarden?
No.
Okay. I think I like some Soundgarden songs, I think. Some of the bigger ones.
I don't think I know them super well. I'm sure I've heard their songs. I just couldn't tell you any off the top of my head.
They do Black Hole Sun, don't they? That one.
Oh, okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, Black Hole Sun there. So Chris Cornell did this one there. Do you have a favorite from the Craig movies Bond song?
Skyfall's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the Skyfall song is pretty damn great. That might be the best one.
And Adele does that one.
Yeah.
Do you think
she killed it?
Yeah, she did. She's really good. Yeah, Adele's got a great voice. Do you think Bond songs work better when it's like a kind of a classic voice like that, or does it? Because sometimes they do kind of rock. Sometimes they have like maybe like Paul McCartney.
What's the one they had Aha do? Is that Living Daylights?
I think maybe. Let me see there.
I do think it works better when it's got that sort of classic. Like I thought Lana Del Rey killed it in First Light too, because it had a little bit of that classic sort of feel to it again. I like that style the most, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Aha. Yeah, they did Living Daylights. They did that one. That's your favorite one, or?
No, I just thought it was funny that they had Aha do it.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes because they were pretty big. That was when they were at the height, right? When they did that. Are they one hit wonders? I only know that one song they do. Like Take on Me. That's the only one I know.
I mean, I know Living Daylights, but it's really only because of it being in a movie that I know it. So yeah, they might be.
Yeah, so that's the only one I know them for is Take on Me. That was kind of big in the 80s. Yeah,
and it was the music video especially that was huge.
Yeah, because I got parodied a lot. I think the Take on Me one.
Harry and the Hendersons draws its entire credits that way.
Oh, really? Okay, pretty nice. Yeah. And I mean, I've heard some of them. I mean, the Goldfinger, Shirley Bassey, she does a lot with. That's obviously a classic one, and Diamonds Are Forever is a classic one. I like this Casino Royale one quite a bit there. When I rewatched Quantum of Solace, I was like, hey, I actually like this song a lot better than what I remember. That was with Alicia Keys and Jack White. They did it.
I'll have to go back and I'll have to go back and listen to that one again because I don't remember the song very well.
Yeah, Skyfall. I don't remember the Spectre one. That one drawn a blank. I don't remember who the fuck did Spectre. I don't know who.
Smith.
Oh, maybe it was Sam. So I think you're right.
I never saw the movie, but I somehow remember that.
Yeah, Writings on the Wall. It was Sam Smith. Okay, yeah, it was him there. So that one, yeah, I don't remember much from that one. And then Billie Eilish did No Time to Die.
Okay.
That one was good. I like that one. So Sage, what would be your final thoughts rating for Casino Royale?
Yeah, I mean, I've done nothing but gush about it, but like, I really don't have any negative critiques. I'd give this is cinema. Honestly, it's my favorite Bond film in the entire franchise. I could praise all the same things I just have, from the cast to the chemistry between your two leads to, I think, Daniel Craig just being the best version of this character to the villain. I think just being fantastic. And yeah, just the whole supporting cast, Judi Dench, everybody nails their part. I think this is kind of a perfect movie.
Wow. Should we get an American Bond?
Well, technically, the first one was American. There was a TV movie before Sean Connery even did it. Not that anybody remembers that guy, but I think no. I think there should not be an American James Bond. I do think Scottish, well, Sean Connery, obviously, but like maybe like an Irish James Bond. I think that could be interesting. But I do think you need to stick to like the UK at large.
I don't know. Some British people might be mad, man. Irish? I don't know, man.
Maybe that's why you got to do it.
Barry Nielsen was the TV show. Was the so he did also. This is kind of like almost like a remake, almost, because he did Casino Royale also. Yeah. So he did kind of all that. So people
check the title of one of the books.
Yeah. That was title one. I think, is that the first book there from Ian Fleming?
I don't know if it's the first one. It might be, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Christopher Lee, he would have made a good.
Well, Christopher Lee is part of who James Bond is. Christopher Lee is like partially what James Bond is based on.
Damn, that guy's lived a very interesting life there. He knew J.R. Tolkien. He knew Christopher. He knew Ian Fleming. Yeah, he knew. Damn, he lived a long, long time. He was Count Dooku. He knew Yoda, everybody.
He was Dracula like 35 times and was really unhappy about it, getting like halfway through.
Yeah. So Casino Royale was the first book. It came out in
Okay.
1953. Then you had Live and Let Die, Moonraker, Diamonds Are Forever, From Russia with Love, Dr. No, Goldfinger, Thunderball, The Spy Who Loved Me, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, You Only Live Twice, The Man with the Golden Gun. Then in short stories, you had For Your Eyes Only, Octopussy and the Living Daylights.
I'll tell you right now, Octopussy is probably one of the worst movies.
Really? Okay.
It's not good. It's very boring.
Damn, with a name like Octopussy is boring? Yeah.
It's quite boring. You'd think it would be more fun, but
Yeah. And that was the Roger Moore one.
that one, yeah, that's one of the rough Roger Moore ones.
Yeah. And then his work has continued because I think other people have come on and written additional Bond books and stories and everything like that. But it seems like, yeah, he didn't write many Bond books there. So it's not many of the movies that could be based on the books there because there's only like a select few there with that. Yeah. This was really great, man. Great going back and watching this. I'm on a Bond binge right now. This was a great watch there. Daniel Craig is, I think, one of the best Bonds there. I think he's really amazing here in this role. I think this is it's tough. I always try to go between this or Skyfall, which is the best one. It's really tough there, but I think this is such a great first like movie there. If you are just getting into Bond and wanted to get into who he is there, I think this is such a great introduction to the character there. Really amazing stuff. Dan Craig, I know, hated this. I mean, he eventually got tired of playing Bond, sick of it. Eventually with that,
coming back for more sequels though.
Well, hey, man, that money sometimes good, man. Sometimes you love that money. But he's having a lot more fun playing, I guess, in Knives Out there. He's having a much more fun. He can't do enough of these. Like, I want to do 50 of these Knives Out movies. I love playing Knives Out.
I still seriously have not watched a lick of that entire franchise.
I'd love to hear your thoughts, man. I'd love for you to watch at least one of them, at least the first one. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Ryan Johnson, those movies there. And then we are going to get a new Bond. I don't think there's any exact timeline on where we're going to get a new one, but Denis Villeneuve is attached to direct it. Denis Villeneuve, who did Arrival, he's done Dune, he's doing Dune, he did Blade Runner. Great director, one of the best directors we got working today. What are you expecting from him with his new Bond?
Well, it's interesting because the game First Light leaned into sort of a sci-fi angle a little bit more, and that's kind of what I would expect from him as well. Just because I feel like he's got such a strong, and maybe this will be a chance for him to do something very different from the usual, but I feel like he's on such a streak of science fiction films that I feel like he's going to go for a very sci-fi heavy Bond. That's my biggest expectation.
Fuck it. He's going to remake Moonraker. That's what he's going to do. He's going to make it, and he's going to redo it. He's going to do that.
He's going to make it awesome.
Like, why not? I mean, hey, you can only go up, man. Take the worst Bond movie and make it good.
Even that, I still don't think it's the worst one, but
Yeah. Good old Moonraker there. So maybe he'll do that one. So hey, maybe he'll do that. Very good stuff there. I wonder if they'll eventually.
I was just gonna say, I think Austin Powers technically is Moonraker, but good, isn't it?
With the first one,
is it the first one or the second one? But one of them is like basically almost entirely a parody of Moonraker.
Okay. I think for me, Austin Powers kind of lost me after the first one. It started being kind of after the first one. I was like, that's really what it was peak, and then it's kind of like, it's kind of diminishing.
I remember enjoying both of the first two, and then the third one falling mostly pretty flat for me.
Yeah, Goldmember was the third one. Yeah. I think, aren't they doing a fourth one? I think they said
I haven't heard anything about a fourth one.
I think they said they were doing it. Everything's coming back, so I think they said they might do a fourth one or whatever. So
I mean, I'll say the one thing about 3 that still kind of kept me going was I did think Michael Caine was very funny in it. Other than that, I'm not big on 3, but I like the first 2, but I would not be interested in seeing a fourth one.
Yeah. Him and Michael had a good like Last Crusade thing going on in that one. Yeah. That was pretty fun. Steven Spielberg, he just recently said that he wanted to do a Bond movie after Jaws.
I don't really want to see Steven Spielberg do any Bond movie or just do any more movies.
But this was like, peak Steven Spielberg. This was Jaws. Back in the day, he said like he approached the family and everything. He's like, man, I want to do Bond. I have this huge hit, Jaws. Hey, when are you gonna let me do it? And he said they never got back to him, or they told him no, and everything. He's like, he couldn't understand why. He's like, man, I have one of the biggest movies ever. I had Jaws. Like, well, why don't you let me do it? But yeah, I guess Harrison Ford would have been Bond. I guess maybe then, or one of the people, Richard Dreyfuss, would have been Bond.
Richard Dreyfuss.
You had that, but yeah. But I give Casino Royale a very strong peak for that. I really love it. If people can check it out, please do. I think Amazon now owns Bond because they bought MGM now.
Yeah.
But you can't actually stream it on Amazon Prime or anything like that. Any of the Bond movies.
It's weird. What is it on MGM Plus? Like,
I think a lot of the Bond movies are on like some other subscription service. You got to pay like one of those additional things you got to add on to Amazon Prime. Something like
enough
that.
of those.
Like Howdy or whatever the shit is called or whatever.
That's why I'm just gonna buy the box set and just own all of them. That's not worth it.
I think that's probably the best option for that. So you give it This Is Cinema.
Yeah.
I give it a high peak for Casino Royale. Very good there. And